is about having an education in fire ecology and then applying it. You get really excited because all of the words, everything you read, it starts lifting off of the page and you get to start seeing it applied. You're like, whoa, I read a study and here I am actually doing it. Or, wow, that study really missed the mark because what I'm seeing over and over is a very different effect than what that is. And you kind of have this duality playing out. And so effervescently, that sort of just bubbles over. I'm just like, hey, look, you know, firefighters, let's talk about like what's going on here. And I realized no one really wanted to hear what I had to say when I was kind of force feeding it. The people that I was working with, even though they didn't have a background, there was a budding ecologist in almost everyone that I was working with. And I would just, when I went to Alaska, for example, we, lower 48 crew, so we got shipped up there, full 21, and we were on, a fire where we had watched it burn through, and then we got to just kind of, just doing what you do in Alaska, kind of watching it, herding it here and there. And one of the tussock tufts that, the frozen tundra area that we had been into, the tussock had just burned, all the way to the ground. And then within the same block of that 21 days, I was watching we hike the same line, every single day, 21 days. And I would watch my, my firefighter friends, everyone else on the crew, just starting to look down at the tussock, and it started doing what tussock does. It just started regrowing. There's little green sprouts. And they were noticing it. They're like, hey, that's crazy. The tussock's already, well, we didn't call it tussock. I don't know what we call it, just, grass. It's already starting to grow back. And they're like, oh, that's like, how does it do that? And I, me thinking about perennial bunch grasses and things. And it's like, well, it's kind of neat. We talked a little bit about, root storage and how it taps in. And this is like very normal. And we just started talking about the ecology. And for me, I guess I Lorax every so often. I like to spread the word. And I realized that when you find those opportunities to sort of point it out as it's happening, it's a much more receptive audience. And I still, I like to teach formally. I help teach with a lot of the 310 classes and the prescribed fire classes because it is where my passion is. And I like to try to instill that excitement and, like, hey, these things, firefighters, like, let me just explain the science behind what you already know all the time. And so it's nice to be able to have that slideshow and be able to talk about that in formalized classes and realize that that's the avenue for explaining why ecology is so important, as we're going out and doing, fires for resource benefit or, whatever the name is these days, fire use. So I get excited. I still get excited no matter where I am, what I'm burning or what is caught on fire, just crown scorch, and then working with people talking about trees that they're like, oh, wow, like that tree's totally gone. And just being like, well, did you know a pine tree can take 90% canopy scorch before it actually dies? And people are like, really? I'm like, yeah. Fun fact. I don't know if it's going to get you too far in the bars with fun facts like that, but I think it helps people look at the forest a little bit more resiliently and think, especially when it comes to applying fire, like in burnouts, it's not just about necessarily painting it black. It's thinking about, well, I have an opportunity right now, this minute, with this drip torch in my hand to do some resource good, and reminding firefighters that you're smarter just because you may not have the degree or you have the slideshow, how fire behaves, and how lighting pattern is going to affect, the burnout operation that you're doing. I'm like, tap into that. It's really like, it's cool to know ecology. At least that's what I keep trying to tell people.